Ladies and gentlemen, live from Phoenix, Arizona, in a hotel conference room, we have Dan Braun and George Chu presenting Cooking with TeamConnect.
Very good. So when we were talking about this session, I was asking the Mutual marketing team to see if they could actually get a kitchen in here to actually demonstrate we're going to be cooking, but I guess the budget got cut, so sorry.
There are treats in the hall, I believe, still? So
Yes.
Yeah. So, thank you for the great introduction, Brad. This is Cooking with TeamConnect. Yay. So, we have myself, George Chu, who was introduced very well yesterday. Was it yesterday?
I guess so, yeah.
I guess yesterday.
Yesterday.
By Judith, one of our Rockstar Award winners for all the awesome stuff they've been doing in TeamConnect. So you get to see a little bit of what's going on in there now. We also have the friendly armadillo from Mascots Limited. Arnie. Say hi to Arnie.
That's Arnie.
Arnie will help us out as we go through this. What we really want to go through here is basically Prudential has done a lot of great work expanding beyond just the legal department with TeamConnect, bringing on things like compliance groups and legal services. And a lot of the things you can do with that aren't necessarily, you don't necessarily have to get super complex in TeamConnect itself to get the advantages of that. There's a lot of things you can do with basic pieces of configuration. And one of the main things to really take away is that if you just think about like the process that you're going to have with TeamConnect, like what is your process for those groups and how can you work TeamConnect into it to make it more efficient, to make it run smoother, and then really figure out like what are the basic pieces you need to do that without having to go crazy with it necessarily, and really get the advantages of it. So we do want a couple things we're going to be covering in this. For every piece, we are going to be talking about design overview. Just really what was done in that area. And then just 3 areas that Prudential has brought on other groups with their law services, legal operations, and their high-tech investigations unit. And I will let George actually give a lot more detail on what those actually are. So to the design overview of just the overall system.
Yeah.
You want to take some of that?
So before we go into this slide here, I just want to ask a general question. Who likes to eat? All right. Who likes to cook? All right. So who has a 400 square feet worth of room space for all the fridge? No, right? So I like to cook. Oops, I'm sorry. I like to cook. I like to eat. I cook with the stuff that it's only in the refrigerator. So I don't tell my wife hey, you know what, I'm going to cook a steak and therefore go out and grab a steak and come back. I look at whatever is in my fridge and I say, you know what, I'll put this one in, put this one in, and cook up a meal. So same thing with this. Similarly with TeamConnect, the way that we're approaching it is that we're grabbing certain ingredients within certain department within our legal services, within our law and compliance, and say, you know what, hey, let's bring you in. Let's bring you in because you have certain interactions with the group that's already here, right? So for example, our Primerica Legal Services, Primerica is our Prudential subsidiary that does a lot of work for us. A majority of the work, they do development work, they do QA, extensive QA work for us, and they do support. They are actually out in Ireland, which works great because when I come into the office, things are already done. So Primerica Legal Services, one of their tasks is to handle research requests. So the 50 state surveys and things of that nature. So they get offloaded to that. And before TeamConnect, they have a spreadsheet, all right? Legal operations. So legal operation is where it's almost like a help desk for legal department, where attorney could submit a ticket and say, hey, I need a new computer, or I want a new desk, or I need my art changed, or whatever. So all the different requests. Security request comes through legal operations as well. So we have actually took that department, they use a separate application, separate ticketing system, and we pour that over to TeamConnect because who are they working with? Attorneys. Attorney makes the request in TeamConnect, and they handle the request, and all the communication goes back and forth, stays with TeamConnect. One place to go, one place to get your data. High-tech investigation. This is one of the latest group that we brought on board. Investigation has their own incident tracking, cybersecurity incident tracking, and alert applications. So what we've done is that we took that application and integrated with TeamConnect because the incidents that comes in from their cybersecurity application could mean that they need to have some sort of a case generated or matter generated for them. So once they escalate that particular case, it goes into TeamConnect. But now, because there's that integration, all the information from that application comes into TeamConnect without them even have to touch anything. And now, I haven't talked to you about it because there's a potential project that we're.
Are you giving a new project while
yes.
we're standing here? Okay.
That once that it's in there, we're thinking about going downstream with a different system. So, yeah.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for your incident tracking, do they just go into TeamConnect and put that information in?
No, so the cybersecurity incident tracking is actually a separate group. I'm sorry, so the question is, do my team go, or do the high-tech investigation go into TeamConnect to put in matters? Yes and no, actually. So there's two ways, two directions. You know what? I think it would be best if we hold that question.
We do have a section on.
Because we'll be over there. So I'll answer your question when we get there.
And also, we do have the option if you want to go to that lovely microphone in the middle to ask questions.
I've never seen anybody walk up there yet, so it will be.
It is an option. Brad also has a microphone in the back walking around, or you can hear our lovely voices repeat them. Either way.
Either way, if I remember to repeat them, or if you remember to repeat them. Yep.
Yep. All right. So Primerica Legal Services. See, we have a little armadillo, and he has a toy. Okay.
Barney. Oh, me?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So Primerica Legal Services, so the purpose, again, I'm just reading off of that. It's a simple object with defined workflow that allows prudential attorneys to request legal research tasks from Primerica team. Again, they are in Ireland, right? They do manage them in ways that are a little bit different because there's two parts. You want to advance to this second?
Yeah, the workflow.
Yeah.
Yep.
So attorney submits a request. For example, 50 state survey. Go back.
Can you see that? Yep.
Go back. Go back.
Yes, sure.
All right. And then they manage the request. They go off to either a different system or a library or wherever they need to do their research. They conduct their research, and they oversee and manage that entire research process. And once they have that result set, they come back and they update TeamConnect, and then they're closed. Right, so next slide.
So there's an in-your request through TeamConnect.
Yes, yes. So here's a screenshot of what it looks like. So
This is actually the wizard for them to create.
Right, the wizard for them to submit the request. So it's very basic. You've got your general information. You've got the services that you're requesting. I don't know if you can see it. So right, you've got the service type and the comments. Right, and what group is the request for? Who is the contact? If you have an attorney, lead attorney for that request, you can add it in. If not, no. When was the request made? Does it need an iManage workspace? We leverage the iManage integration extensively within Prudential, and then Yeah. So that's basically your wizard.
Yeah, and if you notice with like this wizard, in order to do this, there wasn't anything in here that's really like any type of customization or anything like that. Like log
Basic
group
screen
is a
designer.
drop down. That's a drop down. That's just a standard memo text field. So it's a pretty quick
Pretty simple.
setup for that part.
Yep.
Yeah, Ellen.
By the user that is requesting the research or the attorney that's going to?
Can you repeat that question again?
Who's creating that
Oh,
request?
who's creating the request? It will be the attorney. Yeah, the attorney, yeah, submits the request.
Yeah, and TeamConnect does automatically say who created it. So you would have the attorney in there that created it.
Okay. All right, so this is the managing aspect of it. I think we can go through, that's the same screen. So the Primerica Legal Services would do their stuff, right, off to the side, because, off to the side. They would determine whether or not is it complex, is it when did I start the research, when do I expect to have the research completed, and who is assigned to do the research, right? And then next one is when they would do timekeeping.
We didn't do the timekeeping.
Oh, okay.
It's a very custom tool for you guys.
That's right, that's true. Forgot about that.
But yeah, one thing I would like to point out just on this previous page is this relations piece. So this is actually a really useful part here because this is research you could be doing or that could be going on for any type of litigation or could grow into something else. So this relations are just a out-of-the-box piece of functionality in TeamConnect. But this really allows you to connect it to any other matter in the system that you have access to. So you do have that traceability. Like if they did a 50-state survey that then relates to a litigation later on, you can trace back to this, and then when you need it again, you can find it easily through that matter. So I think that is a great piece that was added on there too.
Right, and that goes into the operating mindset that, because it's TeamConnect, right? I mean, you are talking to the attorney who are already on TeamConnect, so why not bring all that pieces of information here? Yeah, no worries.
We have a microphone coming.
Here we go.
And so, thank you, I hate this, but, so Prime America Services, they're the ones that receive the request?
Yes.
Then they take care of the request, complete it, close it, and that's, okay.
Right, so the Primerica Legal Services receives the request from the attorney. So the Primerica Services team are looking at TeamConnect. So attorney submits it through that screen, that wizard that we saw before. They get notified saying there's a request coming through, go take a look. They went in, take a look. I think she's got another question coming over. It's okay. They manage the end-to-end completion of that research or that request. Once that request is done, they come back and update the status. So the reason why there's a team update screen was because attorney are not seeing that screen. Right, so they don't need to see that. They don't need to see, they classify my problem as complex or not complex, and they don't need to know that. They don't need to know who is assigned to it, because once they know who is assigned to it, they're going to be badgering them. Hey, when is my request being completed, right? So that's a separate screen. That's not a separate screen, but separate security so that they don't see it. Right, so there's a screen for them to take a look at their.
Have the phases on there? No, I don't.
So when the attorney comes in, they have their own view of where that request is. Yes. So the question is this specifically designed for Prudential? Is this something that can be done, I guess, out of the box for everybody? It's actually done specifically for us. But this is so easy that it's not.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the idea is that you have TeamConnect Legal as like that starting point, and that would be your, people change the names, but really your disputes, your transactions, your advice and counsel objects. But this is a completely separate object, but really it's using those basic building blocks that are available out of the box, so I can very quickly create just a custom object, add the fields that are needed, and create this wizard. And without going into without doing any complex rules, that's actually a really simple place to start off with, and do that. And actually, one of the ways they're getting these notifications, or they're finding out that these new requests are created, is there's a simple, just standard email notification rule that is then sending out an email notification when these are created to a user that has to go in, review it, and start the process.
Yes, Arnie?
Yeah, I'm the armadillo. So when you see that, that's me. I've put a lot of work over the years into making George's team as nerdy as me. And so a lot of what you're seeing here is most of this is stuff that their team has done themselves with a little bit of coaching from us. Because, and they hear me say it all the time. You've heard me say it a bunch of times. My goal is to make you as nerdy as me. So all of these things that you're doing, or that we're doing here, that Prudential's done for themselves, you can do these same types of things to meet your requirements.
So he hasn't given up to be as nerdy as him, to make me as nerdy as him. I've already checked out. So my guys are as nerdy as him, so that's a good thing. You okay? They're full license. So the license. The question is, what kind of license model do my user have here in Pramerica? They have full license, because they're coming in to see stuff and update stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. The next piece of the design puzzle, it's an armadillo theme.
It looks like a crab, but okay, yeah, it passes an armadillo.
Is the legal operations. And as George was talking about with that, that's basically they've created an object in there where they can manage basically their ops requests for their legal department, which I think is really cool. And it's really great, as Brad said, that they are, they've been trained up, and Brad has made them so nerdy that they can sort of run with a lot of this themselves.
Yeah, it's actually it's complex but easy. I don't know if that makes any sense. Complex being that because you've got several different requests, right? And each of the requests has different criteria. So there could be a request for a new hire for paralegal. There could be a request for a parking. It could be a request for badge. It could be a request for security clearance. It could be a request for phone numbers. It could be a request for whatever. So if you're part of the legal operations, you know what kind of request that comes in from the attorneys and the paralegal and assistants. So we've got 10 plus forms, and we're building 3 more out onto this. And we were at we were using a separate platform, separate application, right? And one of the pain points that our legal operation, the admins are feeling is that the communication aspect of it wasn't there. And all the time is that once the attorney submits the ticket, they call them up. And either they call them up or they exchange emails asking, where's my status, where's this and where's that. Well, I'm going to sound like a broken record here. Attorneys are using TeamConnect, so check your status yourself. I mean, why do you keep calling us? So the basic flow of things is that the user, attorneys, paralegal, whoever, submits a request, right? The legal operation here, which is here in the States, they review it. They reach out to different different areas of Prudential, security, whatever, to get the request filled. At the same time, there might be questions. So if you want a parking lot, which parking lot do you want to go to, right? So there's that communication aspect of it, and we track them in TeamConnect. So we actually built for the lack of a better description, like a semi-real-time chat. So the legal operations will be able to ask questions to, okay, can you clarify what this request is? Boom, the submitter gets a notification saying, hey, there's a question for you from the legal operation. They log into TeamConnect and saw that question. They go into the same screen and answers it and returns, and then bing, here's the answer. So all the conversation that while this request is being fulfilled are tracked in TeamConnect. Whereas before, it would be emailing here, phone call there, you have no records of it, and people think they called, but they really didn't. It's tracked.
George, are all your users, all your legal users have TeamConnect licenses, right?
Yes, ma'am. Sir.
Either way.
Sorry. Right, so here's the simple screen. Here's the wizard that we built for them. This is just one of them. I believe this is the badge.
This is the badge request.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is the badge request. So the required field is who is it requested for and what's the business justification, right? And the rest of it you can fill it back later if you need to.
And then there's a specific page with the, in this case, the badge request information, but this is actually, so the way they're doing this is actually with our categories functionality. So each of these request types has their own category, which means it's very easy to just add the fields you need onto that category. And when you get to this details page, you just get those fields for the request.
So and to kind of help our users out a little bit too is that so we did a page for them just to give them a list of all the different hyperlinks for different requests, so they don't have to like scroll through which requests. They just go into legal operations tab and click on the specific request that they want to have. Yes.
Yes.
Questions.
Why don't you build it all as like one object, one hyperlink, or is that?
Okay, so good question. So why didn't I build this in one object and one hyperlink? The answer to that is it is one object. It is one object, and that's what Dan was telling about is that we break it down into different categories. So instead of having the user select the categories, we made it into a hyperlink so that the category is defaulted to that particular request.
Yeah, so it's each, basically you create a wizard for each of the types, and then you go right to what you need.
Okay, here's the general screen. You've got the details, the business. Next.
This was the correspondence part you were talking about.
Right, the corresponding. Yes. Oh no. No, did I get buy-in for it? Did I have problem getting buy-ins for it? No. Because we're on, right now in Prudential, we're on a warpath to get rid of a lot of legacy applications, especially with Lotus Notes. We're a big Lotus Notes shop, and there are still tons of Lotus Notes that we need to get through. So that's why we're starting a lot of project with these guys, because we want to offload some of this database over to TeamConnect. Separate conversation, but no, we didn't, because they were actually excited. And that's great, because a project goes really well when your users are excited to be on that platform or the new thing. And these users are pretty involved. They were part of our design and a part of our testing and implementation. So they know what's coming up. So as soon as we have a form ready, they come in, they do a test, and they didn't like it or didn't fit, whatever, we do it again. So it's almost like a hyper agile type of work style.
And George, with that, so these are users that have already been using TeamConnect,
Yes.
right? So when you first sort of brought them into the TeamConnect world, what type of buy-in issues did you have at that point? Or how did you deal with getting everyone on?
No, I think they, like you said, they are already part of TeamConnect. If not, they've at least heard of it. And what we used to do too is that we do, for lack of better words, dog and pony shows. We show them, okay, this is how easy it is to go into this page, click this link, get your stuff done, get your notifications, get your reports, or get your status. For us, especially in the beginning, for us, Dog and Pony Show was crucial for us, because when we rolled TeamConnect out, it was basically management and e-billing, right? But we constantly think about, well, what can we do? I mean, we advertise this as internally as a strategic platform for us. So in order to kind of fulfill that sort of prophecy, is that we need to get most out of this. And what better way by doing that by just talking to people? Hey, you've got things to track. I mean, TeamConnect at heart is tracking or project management. Every department has that. Every department needs that. So I don't know if any of you guys were here last year. Brad and I did a session on, if you can bring, we did a session on, what's the title? I don't remember what the title is.
I don't remember exactly what it
Yeah,
was, but
it's-
it was some
yeah.
catchy
You
title
can-
with Stickly as our mascot.
Yes, basically, right. So you can bring it in, but that doesn't mean that you should sometimes. So for example, we had our health and wellness group, our doctors and nurses come to us and say, hey, can we track our patient cases here in TeamConnect? And I sort of, without thinking, I sort of mocked it up for like half a day with all the different fields that we were looking for. And before I was demoing, I was like, wait a minute, do I really want John Doe's health information in TeamConnect? And no, I don't want to get into a whole HIPAA issue, so no, I need to decline. So yes, you could do it, but does that mean that you should? You have to think a little bit further on that.
Yeah, but it's Matt, I mean, you think about the fit and what fits best with the TeamConnect platform, and really it is a platform, and all these things are built using just those pieces that we have that you can work with. You know, if the phases enable the workflows in here. So you have these phases for all the progress on all these things, so the users can go in and check that. And yeah, basically it's just all these building blocks, and you can really turn the platform into a lot of different uses for things that just need workflows and data tracking.
And to that, again, TeamConnect is a platform to connect, literally to connect. So right after we roll out TeamConnect, we talk to our compliance users, legal compliance, right? I mean, why wouldn't you want to work together, right? So with compliance, we did integration with them as well. We brought them on. We didn't include the compliance stuff in here, right?
No, just the HTIU part.
So,
yeah.
So in compliance, we have this project called Cobra, literally Cobra. It's called Compliance. What was it? Compliance Books and Records Archive, COBRA, right? So so what they do is that they have a lot of policies, they have a lot of exams, and they have a lot of documents that they are moving again, coming out of the file share and putting it into iManage. So what they do is that because we're not using TeamConnect's document management, we have our iManage document management system. So we basically use TeamConnect to create a shell of a matter for them. And in TeamConnect, you would describe what the event is, what the exam is, what it's for, what policy, when is it due, and stuff like that. But they would upload all their documents into iManage, where iManage is linked into and embedded in TeamConnect. So once they open up this particular exam or this particular event, their event information is there in TeamConnect, and all the associated document in iManage is presented there with them at the same time. So anyway, so I digress.
Could we use that quote that you had, TeamConnect is a platform to connect? And
Sure.
Okay, cool.
You have to talk to my lawyer, though.
I probably know your lawyers.
Yes, you do.
Okay, so the other one, and yeah, compliance is another great example
Yes.
of an area you've expanded to. And another area that's been expanded to is the high-tech investigations unit. And this one is near and dear to my heart because I worked on the configuration for this.
Yes, you have. Sorry.
But this is part of Prudential's investigations group, and they do have their own platform that is integrated into this for, incident tracking and notifications and things like that. And this is this is their matter management piece of it. And hey, there's another armadillo! Yay! I'll let George talk some more about this, but I'll probably wax poetic about the build once he talks about the workflow.
Yeah, it's let's just display it because it's probably harder for me to talk about it. So our investigation was using a web front SQL server coupled with some Lotus Notes stuff, I believe. So it was a big, giant home build database. That database is shared by our other investigation department called corporate investigation. So corporate investigation and high-tech investigation separately, but they're using the same platform, same database. So when we talked to them, I was like, well, corporate is a lot different than high-tech, and there's actually something workable within high-tech, so we approach high-tech. They described their process to us, and that's the process they were talking about. They have requests from eDiscovery. So the high-tech investigation unit gets a request from our eDiscovery services asking, hey, I need to hold John Doe's hard drive. Can you do that? Can you extract it out for us? So that would be a request, right? And then they would take that request, HTIU, we call it HTIU, would manage that case. They would process it, do whatever they need to do, and close it, right? Resilient, it's a cybersecurity alert system that we recently purchased as well. So all the cybersecurity alerts and potential security threats, all this information, high tech gets. But sometimes if they feel that there's that security threat that is warranted to be a case for us to be alerted, what happens that that case from Resilient is escalated to HTIU object, or in TeamConnect, HTIU matter. And the TeamConnect matter is created off of that Resilient data. And there are 105 fields, I remember correctly, 109?
100 something.
Yes,
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a lot of data coming across Resilient. Obviously, we don't want our users to look at Resilient and come into TeamConnect and have to enter 109 fields from Resilient, right? So we did a one-way integration. We did a one-way integration with Resilient
We'll just leave that there.
and TeamConnect. So once it's escalated, TeamConnect creates a matter, populate that information into TeamConnect as a read-only, as a separate tab, as a read-only. Well, right now that's
Yeah, I
that's
didn't have that.
Oh, you didn't
I
have
couldn't
the
fit
read-only?
120 fields on one screen.
Right. So that's a read-only. So they could, on their HTIU page, they can do and update whatever they need to update. But again, the Resilient data is there within TeamConnect without them having to switch back